Today we're driving the base Porsche 911 Carrera. We spent some time in the GT3. We spent some time most recently in the 911T with the manual. This base Carrera only comes as a PDK. You have to upgrade to the Carrera S or the 911T to get the 7-speed manual. We have a 3-liter twin-turbo flat 6, makes 379 horsepower, 331 pound-feet of torque. It's still pretty fast, despite what the numbers might suggest. Is this base 911 still really, really good? Let's find out. So I've spent the last few days in this, gotten to know it pretty well. We have some neat options on this. Sport Chrono package, Sport Seats Plus, a heated steering wheel. We'll let you guys guess where that button is in the video. I'll tell you later. Standard Porsche infotainment here. Everything works as it should. And this little shifter that looks like a beard trimmer maybe is going to need a little bit smaller. Not a huge fan of it, but it's okay. Maybe it's a little bit better than what Audi and Volkswagen are doing these days. We have a Bose premium audio system, the premium package, adaptive cruise control, larger wheels, 20s in the front, 21s in the rear, 245s and 305s in the back. And we're on winter tires, Michelin Pilot Alpine PA5s today. Unfortunately, I was hoping we could get this loaned with some snow on the ground and see what it's like in the slippery stuff, but it is bone dry out and about 47 degrees Fahrenheit. So we'll still be able to kind of get this thing to move around a little bit today, but no snow driving, no winter driving in our base Carrera, unfortunately. We'll get you someday, Porsche. This thing looks great. Painted in gentian blue metallic. Beautiful color. Really shows the lines and the wide hips of this 911 Carrera. Of course, in the 992 generation, all 911s are the wide body. There's no more narrow body cars. This rear end actually looks really nice with this 911 Carrera badge. You can also just get that as 911 in the middle for the base model. First, I wasn't too sold on the looks of the rear end, but I think it actually is starting to work with me. One thing I don't love are these door handles. They just, I mean, when the car's on, they're out. But when you're trying to get in the car, they never seem to quite be out, and you have to have this extra step to pull them. There's a pretty heavy spring on them too. There is literally nothing to see in the engine bay, just a couple fans and some plastic. Ugh, that feels kind of cheap. We do get a very nice frunk, however. So let's show you that real quick. Such a nice lightweight piece. Nice and wide, nice and deep, plenty of room for groceries. And we've got some more space to put things behind the driver's seat, because this has rear seats. The GT3 we drove, the 911T we drove, had rear seat delete. So, put your kids back there, you put a car seat back there, here are your latch attachments behind this, and then you can fold these down for even more cargo space. A decent amount of room and a nice little shelf in the back of this 911, and I think makes for a pretty compelling, practical sports car. Some more details. We have these squared off exhaust tips. The sport exhaust has round circular tips. That's one way to tell between the standard and the sport exhaust. This actually sounds pretty good to my ear. There's got to be a valve or something that opens up in sport mode versus normal mode. Good looking 911. Okay, what about the inside? A lot of piano black. We'll see how well that ages. If you are fastidious about your detailing, you'll take good care of that with a microfiber in your glove box, of which there is plenty of room to put one. Steering wheel, driving position. As always in the 911, it's just about perfect. I have a ton of adjustability with this wheel, tilting, telescoping, and the thing I love about these cars, I feel so low in this cockpit, yet I have excellent visibility. I can see all the way around me, even out of the rear view mirror. It looks pretty good. No blind spots. I mean, this is This is how a sports car cockpit should feel. 5 gauges up front, only 3 of which you can see. 2 are completely obscured by the steering wheel. Our fuel, trip range, temperature, and our time and exterior temp. Interesting note about this 911, this also has the extended fuel tank. It is 23.7 gallons and 18 miles to the gallon in the city, 24 on the highway. You should be getting 400, 500, maybe even 600 miles out of a tank in one of these 911s with the extended range tank. That is pretty impressive. I know Car and Driver was able to achieve about 30, 33 miles to the gallon on the highway in one of these cars. So pretty fuel efficient with this twin turbo 3-liter flat 6. We have some really nice cameras on this 911, forward facing, rear facing, parking sensors, beeps, bongs. Nice 360 view. Wireless CarPlay, wired Android Auto, however, which is interesting. Nice looking infotainment. I mean, this is just standard Porsche these days. Nothing revolutionary. It works once you get accustomed to it. It's just fine, actually. I like this little place right here to rest your hand and make selections. Got a few options in here. You can extend that spoiler. Looks kind of funny in the back, though. But it does come up automatically in some drive modes at certain speeds. We do have adaptive cruise control in this 911, so we'll test that out later today. And we also get ambient lighting. You might be able to subtly see it in the footwells and right around here. Once it gets a little bit darker, I'm sure that'll come out and be present. Drive mode selector, wet, normal, sport, sport plus, and individual. And in individual mode, you can choose basically between damper stiffness, which is also a button right here, and turning on and off stop start, or extending your spoiler. I've mostly been driving this week in sport mode. Normal seems to turn on stop start very often, and it's kind of weird listening to your 911 turn off at a stoplight. But we'll show you guys what that's like anyway. Okay, I think that's enough sitting, stationary, talking. Let's go and drive this 911. Got a beautiful evening, nice light. Steering is nice and weighty at low speeds, really direct. And I just love the shape of this steering wheel. It's a little bit smaller in hand, feels about the right size. There's that stop start again. It's funny, it'll actually turn off a few miles per hour before you come to a complete stop. Engine fires right up. Sport mode. Beautiful shifts from this 8-speed PDK. This transmission is just about flawless. Really, really fast, really smooth. Nice and comfortable, no lurches, no hiccups, no issues at all this week. And this 3-liter flat 6, it's doing its best impression of a naturally aspirated engine. It is a really responsive and convincing motor. Torque everywhere. Loves to rev. We'll throw it into Sport Plus here. And it loves to hang the rear end out. A little bit easier on these winter tires today. Not getting quite this crisp steering feel that I'm used to in 911s on these Michelin performance snows, but that's okay. It's doing a pretty good job. Listen to that howl. I've got to admit, at first I was a little bit underwhelmed with the 991.2's turbocharged motor sound, but this is sounding pretty good to my ear. It's still nothing like the flat 6 and the 991.1s and prior, but the extra torque, the usable power here, it's a good engine. And it's fast. I mean, mean, this thing is just about as quick as I would want a 911 to be. For street, for daily use, it really gets up and goes. I mean, you can get so much more power in the Carrera S. I think another 64 horsepower in the Carrera S. Is it worth that 10 grand price difference? Could be. I don't know, for my money, around 100 grand, this is looking to be a really nice car. Any complaints on this week? It's been cold, so I've had a few rattles in the interior, a few little buzzes, creaks. That's pretty typical in the wintertime. But it's also something that I've noticed recently with a few of the 911s that we've had. The 911T had a pretty persistent rattle over on the door sill, and so did the GT3 had the same rattle. So hopefully it's not a persistent issue, hopefully it's not a trend, but in my experience it seems to kind of have been. One cool thing that I do like, you could turn on the heated and ventilated seats at the same time. That's pretty cool. Can't do that on a lot of cars anymore. This cup holder location's a bit strange. It's nice that you can pull this out, put your phone in there, because otherwise your iPhone won't fit in here. But there is a nice place to put it right there, away, out of sight, out of mind. Suspension is nice and soft, very comfortable, especially at higher speeds. The faster you go, the more everything kind of smooths out. Around town at lower speeds over really big bumps, it soaks them up pretty well, but still it's a little bit on the stiffer side, as you would expect with a 911. Okay, Sport Plus. Let's see how it does around an entrance ramp here. There's so much grip from the front end in these 992s. Oh, it's just wonderful. You can balance it with the throttle. And it just pounces out of the corner. The PDK gets pretty aggressive in Sport Plus mode. And then in normal, you shift up into top gear, 8th gear, and you're sitting at, what are we at, 80 miles an hour, 1800 RPM. Cruise control takes a minute to get used to. It's the actual exact opposite of what's on Audi with their stock. So you push forward to increase your speed, you pull back to decrease your speed, and then you've got your following distance control right here. Adaptive cruise works great, no issues there. A nice feature to have. Cancel everything just by pushing down. A little bit less wind noise in this base Carrera than what I've noticed in the 911T and GT3, as you would expect. I mean, no revelation there. Still a little bit of noise over bumps, over potholes, especially on these 21-inch wheels, but it's not bad. I was actually kind of shocked at how loud the inside of the GT3 was. The 911T was a little bit better, and this is probably the quietest. You can hold a conversation in this 911 at speed on the highway as long as the pavement's not super rough, super bumpy. It's okay. I would like a shifter. Give me a shifter. Give me a way to downshift without just having to use the paddles. I feel like if I were really hustling this on a back road, going through a bunch of 180-degree hairpins, maybe hand over hand, I'd want to be able to downshift or change gears if I'm a little bit crossed up. And Porsche and pretty much every car in the Volkswagen group now has taken that ability away from us, except for in the GT3, or I guess all the GT cars are like that. They still have their shifters that look like manual gearboxes but aren't. Let's go find some better roads. Maybe chase down another entrance ramp or two. Spindle control turned itself back on since we engaged cruise control. No hero moment back there. I don't even know that I would think that this engine is turbocharged without having already known that it's turbocharged. Porsche's tuning here is top notch. They've done such a good job with this engine. I think it's just emotional enough. It could always be a little bit fizzier, a little bit more character to it, but I think that's where the GT cars come in, maybe the Carrera S. Love the steering at speed. It's got a wonderful weight to it. Wind noise isn't too bad either. Let's go in and do a quick listen to this Bose premium sound system. Got our volume knob down here and on the steering wheel. Sounds pretty good. Honestly, it's not bad. It's a little bit bright, but with all the other noise that's going on in here, there's only so much you can do, especially at highway speeds. Let's go through the power band here real quick. Third gear, 3,000 RPM. Gosh, it just pulls right up to red line. Really nice and progressive. PDK lets you shift or downshift all the way right up to that 7,500 RPM red line. Test out these brakes. A little bit grip limited here with these winter tires. Launch control. Oh, that's pretty awesome. 0 to 60 should happen in under 4 seconds. Bit of a kick in the pants in Sport Plus mode between shifts. The PDK just does a great job on its own, but it is fun to take over occasionally with the paddles. The throttle tuning in sport mode is a little bit more aggressive than I would like. There's a lot of acceleration very high up in the pedal. Sport Plus is a bit more linear, as it should be. It's kind of the track mode. Let's lock us into manual shifting. Nice red line. No shift lights. You just gotta listen to that engine and keep an eye on your tack. Speaking of which, I love this 3D center tack. It is just beautiful. Amazing. Look at that. Oh, another cool feature about this 911, it has sport response mode. So you press this button in, everything goes full aggressive for 20 seconds. And then it turns off. So a quick pass, a quick entrance ramp sprint, a very brief moment in time. Those 20 seconds or less, you can get a little bit of, I don't know if it's actual overboost, but everything just goes full aggressive, and it's just a kind of the excitement button. We've seen some similar features in other cars recently. It's kind of neat to have. Really docile, very comfortable and relaxing at highway speeds. I'm impressed. This is a big difference from some of the other 911s I've driven in this generation in terms of just comfort, NVH, ride quality. Again, this pavement's pretty smooth, and we are on a set of winter tires today. That is definitely going to help with NVH. Going over potholes, rough roads, the summer tires are going to be a little bit louder, especially if they're a set of Michelins. It's just great that Porsche and Michelin still have winter tires available in these sizes, because this would be such a fun year-round sports car. All that weight over the rear end, tons of traction in the snow, enough ground clearance. I mean, someday when I do finally get a 911, I'm going to just daily the heck out of it in the cold weather months. Can't wait to drive one in the snow. Maybe we'll do a little safari build on that, like I did with the BRZ. Okay, so some final thoughts here. What do you guys think about this gray interior? It's a lot of gray, but it's also kind of nice too. It's clean. I like the way these door handles feel. They kind of pop the door out. Some of the switchgear, some of the buttons, materials, I guess everything's okay. It's nice enough. A few minor complaints. Oh, I forgot. Heated steering wheel. Button is right behind this center bottom spoke. How cool is that? This week, I have found this to be a wonderful sports car to live with on a daily basis. I know not everyone daily drives their 911, but you could, and you kind of should. I think there are more exciting cars for this price point. There are faster cars for this price point. But as an overall experience, as a car that just does everything, the 911 is still one of the best options out there. I think the biggest negative here is just price. The cost of entry on these cars has gotten pretty high. If you can afford it, I would highly recommend it, but to most enthusiasts, this is a pretty steep cost of entry. Do I miss the manual? Not really. I think if you want the manual driving experience, you've got to get the manual, but otherwise, if you're kind of 50-50, this PDK is so good. It's engaging, it's exciting, it makes some special noises that you don't quite get with a manual transmission. I am quite pleased with the way this feels, the way it drives. There isn't a whole lot more I'd be wanting for, to be honest. The 911 is still an icon, and this base Carrera is a great starting point for the range. Okay, we'll leave it at that. Let's walk you around this one more time, and then I think we'll just take this for a bit of a drive without any talking. You guys can just listen to the engine. We'll also be posting videos on the Winding Road Magazine YouTube channel. Day drive, night drive. So check those out if you want, or stick around some more in this video. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.